Welcome to another episode of Progress Always. I'm your host, Michael Anders, and I've got my brother, your boy, Eryk Anders. What's up, man?
All right, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me on the pod, man.
Oh man, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. We ran it before the pandemic and all that good stuff, and I don't think that I really had caught my stride in podcasting just yet, and you know, um, in this new version, this Progress Always edition of what I'm doing, I really want to just kind of take the filter off and just let it just interview and have great conversations with interesting people, man. And you know beyond the fact that you're my brother, the way I describe you to people is, you're the cosmic one, coming up and watching your evolution. uh I think it goes without saying. I don't know if you see it this way, but the way I see you is like you just kind of you move through life with a state of knowing that things are going to work out the way that they should. I don't know you to be super stressed about anything ever. That's not to say that you don't live with purpose. You definitely have forever and always lived in your truth. Eryk is going to be who Eryk is, uh, for better or for worse, and the chips fall where they may. And you don't seem to ever be too concerned with, what that looks like. And it's something I've always admired in you. And we come from the same parents, man, but I don't beat by that drum, and I'm curious, like, where does that come from for you?
Man, that's a good question. I just kind of always been like the hippie child, like the leaf blowing in the wind. It'll be all right, man. It's a little setback. It doesn't work for everybody like that, though. Like you, motherfucker, you've known that you were going to live in Arizona and have two kids for since probably before you hit puberty. I'm like, how the fuck did he even know where Arizona was? I would say, how you know what is Arizona? Me, I don't know. It just works out for me that way, and I always seem to land on my feet. There have been, like mishaps and mistakes, and I've messed up a lot along the way, but for me, it's like you can only control what you can control. And so for me, like I just kind of like go through until something like grabs my attention. Like, ooh, that's fun. I think I could do that. Like fighting, for example. The football thing didn't work out. My whole life wanted to play football until I was, 1,000 years old. It didn't work out, and so I was doing the 9 to 5 thing, and that was just it wasn't cutting it for me. And just every day I'd wake up and but every button that every single button. As I was going on my shirt, I just get madder and madder. I'd be like, fuck, dude, this can't be it, dude. This cannot be the next, 30, 40 years of my life, going and clocking in, making somebody else money. So I just really just wanted to blow off some steam and, just kind of started doing jujitsu, playing around with that. Sparred one time, and I was like, "That's it, dude. That's what I'm gonna do." And I think like a lot of people, some people they put too much pressure on themselves or too much like this is how it has to be. That's not how. That's how you may think it's gonna be, but once you get there, it's like, oh snap! And there's all these other unforeseen like issues, or not issues, but like things that you didn't, foresee when you wanted to go down that path. So for me, it's like, oh, okay, this is what I thought I want to do, but this ain't what I want to do. So let me go find what I want to do, kind of thing.
It
That's just how it works out for me.
Well, I think it's funny that you describe your path into fighting that way. That you just kind of stumbled into it, because when I talk about you and fighting, and before we got on the air, I was laughing because you got that that castaway look right now. You fight next weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. So I'm a little thinner.
uh, but no, it the way I describe it to people is, I was like, you don't understand. Like, Eryk likes that shit. Like, you like fighting. It's not like you got some demons that you haven't dealt with. It's not like you got a mean streak. It's not like you walk in the room wanting to beat people up. Like that's not it. Like, you legitimately enjoy throwing hands. And that's it's different. You know what I mean? When you listen to other fighters in their interviews and stuff like that, and kind of their origin stories and whatnot, it's like you don't come from a place where this is all I have, or this is you don't it's not like that for you. And I go back to once upon a time in San Antonio, Texas, like where you would run around with 2 pair of boxing gloves in the trunk of your car, and like, if somebody said, "Hey, I want to see what Eryk's about," you're like, "Okay." It size, age, it did not matter. And but it's never been an ego thing. It seems to me from the outside looking in, it's always been like a matter of, I'm genuine. I'm curious too. Let's find out.
Yeah, fuck around and find out is what they say. I think above all, I'm a competitor. I like to compete, and I think that's what like makes me whole, And yeah, like when I first started doing jujitsu, it was cool. I wrestled in high school. I prefer the single person sports, the individual sports, because win, lose, or draw, I want that to be on me. Like fighting, there ain't nobody else to look at. You know what I'm saying? Shit going bad for you. Dudes on top of you, wailing on you. Dude, there ain't no timeout. There ain't no, hey, help me. There ain't none of that. And that's the thing I enjoy. I really, like, people say like I'm a football player that found fighting, but I honestly think that I was a fighter that played football. If that makes sense. Like, I just hadn't discovered fighting. Yeah. I asked mom if I could box when I was younger, and she gave me that. Oh, you're gonna be punch drunk and this, and this. But then she'll let me, turn my body into a fucking a missile. You know what I mean? And get in car crashes, in football. And I know that's not her fault. Like, no one knew about like concussions and CTE and all that other shit, before. But I always hated team sports. I played football because, like, early on, I was like, oh, I'm kind of good at football. Then you get to high school, and you're like, oh, the girls like football players. And then you get a little bit better. It's like, oh, snap, they recruit me to play. I can go to college for free. Back when I thought that college was a must, like a college degree, like you had to have that to be successful. So, the avenue of the fighter wasn't around back then. You know what I mean? It was like boxing, and you only get money in boxing if you're like one of the top guys. So I just really thrive and liked individual sports so much better, just because if I win, that's me. If I lose, also other end of the spectrum, but that's me as well. And I've been on both sides, and there's especially in fighting, there is no better reward. There is no release of endorphins and hormones and all that stuff that your brain produces after a win. There's nothing that you can do to simulate that. And once I got that taste the first time, I was like, this is it, dude. This is what I'm gonna do.
You've always bet on you, right? One of my favorite stories to tell about you is when we were riding in Hawaii for Gail's wedding. He's our big brother, for those of you out there in the interweb. And you get a phone call. I don't know if this is exactly how it went down, but what I remember, you get a phone call from one of the recruiting coaches at Alabama asking about whether or not you were still going to, whether you're going to stay committed to Ole Miss, where you were a recruited walk-on, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you were like, I don't understand why we're on the phone right now if you know that I've already committed somewhere else. And they let you know that they had fired the whole staff at at Ole Miss. So you hang up. What I remember is you hanging up on Alabama, calling the cat that recruited you at Ole Miss, verifying that information, hanging up on him, calling Alabama back. This all happens inside of 5 minutes. And 5 days later, you touch down in San Antonio, pack a bag, and go sign a full ride at Alabama.
Yeah. Like, dude, Mike Schuler, the head coach, is the dude who called me. And dude, I was all like, hungover, and what I'm saying, we was at the wedding, so we was all, fucking off, and so it's kind of like, hello. He's like, hey, Eryk, Mike Schuler, University of Alabama. Hey, coach, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? And because look, this is the thing, dude. Like, I was gonna go to Ole Miss, but I wasn't thrilled about living in Mississippi. Just wasn't. I just like feel racist just saying Mississippi. Just, it's not a place I ever care to go back to. You know what I mean? And so really, what happened was, and this is just like, this is the kind of shit that's happened to me. Like, there has to be a little bit of luck and coincidence and timing and everything for you to be successful. You know what I mean? It's like very rarely do you see people like make their own way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have help. You don't have to, but like, it helps to have help. It helps to be at the right place at the right time. And so the whole story is one of my assistant coaches in high school just saw how I was grinding. Like, like he known me like the whole time I was in high school, obviously. And even after the football season, my senior year, man, I went in there, I made my own highlight tape, made like 125 copies or however many. Yeah, I think it was 125 FBS schools is what they were called at the time, like Division I schools. And like I would get there early in the morning, I'd work out, run. Like, he just saw my want to, you know what I mean? And he was roommates in college with the offensive line coach at Alabama, and they have these summer camps where the high school kids go and they, do essentially a combine and skill work and stuff. And he went and, he had lunch with them, handed him my highlight tape, and I mailed them got on the internet and like looked up the address of the school and mailed made all these copies of these schools and mailed, all this stuff myself. Not even realizing this isn't how they recruit people. And I was already a senior. My senior season was over with, so they were done recruiting. They were recruiting like sophomores and juniors. And I had no idea. No one told me how any of this recruiting stuff worked. So everybody's just looking at me like a dumbass, just, like, what is he doing? But no one said anything. And this guy, Chris Roberts, he went and handed him my highlight tape personally. He was the offensive line coach at Alabama. Chris Roberts handed Bob Conley my recruiting tape that I made and said, man, if he doesn't do anything else for you, he'll be a great special teams player. Cool. Well, later on that summer, a kid didn't qualify academically, so a scholarship opened up, and that's when he called me at the wedding. And I was like, yo, I'm at this wedding. I'll be home Monday. Boom, boom, boom. They flew me out. And another thing about luck, I lied about my size. I was like, yeah, I'm 215. Man, I may have been 200 pounds soaking wet. and shoot, you know what I'm saying? I wore boots, so I made myself look taller. You know what I mean? I know they care about size. I didn't want, I was only 6'1". I didn't want to be. Anyway, so he was like, all right, there's a scale right there. If you get on the scale and you're 1 ounce less than 215, we're not going to offer you. I walk over to the scale, and the scale was broke. The scale wasn't working, so he just had to take my word for it. So I basically got my scholarship off of somebody else's fuck up and a lie. So, like I said, coincidence, timing, luck, all those things that kind of came together to get me to the University of Alabama in the first place.
Yeah. The again, like I think that's such a fair and honest assessment of your situation and the timeline. And so many people want to romanticize it and make it more I guess, symbolic than it really is, and the, I can remember having a conversation with you. It must have been between your sophomore and junior year. You had redshirted, went 2 seasons to special teams, and weren't getting a whole lot of tick. And I can remember having a conversation with you about transferring, and I had already left the academy, and there's discovered for myself that there's talent everywhere, and the tape that you had and or didn't have, for that matter, like you weren't in a good situation to transfer.
Yeah,
And not to mention, you were all state 5A, which means something coming out of the state of Texas. That's not like middle of nowhere Idaho. you know
yeah.
um and between conversations that we had, conversations with dad, you know the universe, whatever, you stayed. And all I've ever heard you talk about is, I just need a shot, and being ready, staying ready so you don't have to get ready. And next thing you know, you're in the championship. And I don't want to make this all about football. You talk about that shit on every fucking podcast, but like
But
you
man, people don't even know. Like, I don't know if you call it luck or what, but like, so I was like second on the depth chart going into my senior year. The dude in front of me transfers. I forget why he transferred. He transferred,
that's
and
Smithson
they were
Valley?
gonna, no, in college.
Okay.
Yeah, going into my senior year, I was second string. The dude in front of me transfers for whatever reason, and they were going to move Dante Hightower, who played like fucking 100 years in the NFL, to my position. And I was just going to keep doing what I was doing the year before and like rushing the passer or whatever. And like first game, no, it was against Arkansas. Anyways, I was like not really splitting reps, but like certain, like if Dante was on the field at linebacker, I would go in outside linebacker. No, oh no, man, the year before he got cut block or whatever, and like totally tore everything in his knee, so he wasn't even available. So I had to start. I was the only person there, the only person left. So I don't know, a bunch of stuff happened for me to even start in the first place. But I knew as soon as I got that spot, that was my spot, and wasn't nobody gonna take it, and wasn't nobody gonna outwork me for it. I
Mm-hmm.
was never the biggest, strongest, fastest, or even the smartest, but when that ball is snapped, your boy on his horse trying to get to the ball. If I fuck up
Yeah.
the play, like, hey, whatever, I'm getting it. And so again, even Saban just realized the grind, just saw the grind and the want to. So that was like kind of my reward.
Mm-hmm.
And also his lack of options. So he was just like, all right, fuck it, Eryk. The job is yours until I can get this other guy coached up. But by that point, the gap was so big
Yeah.
between me and Courtney. I played a while in the league.
Courtney
There wasn't
Upshaw
no
was the
choice
dude
but
behind
for
you.
yeah. He was a freshman.
Oh shit. It's crazy. Like the time that you were at Alabama, like when you look at it, it's kind of like the Miami of the early 2000s. Like the fact, if you were there, like whether the world knows your name or not, if you were there and you're in the team picture, like everybody knows that you were the shit at your
Yeah, yeah,
at your position, and nobody can say that you suck, because even if you weren't a starter, because the dudes in front of you were absolute fucking beasts,
yeah,
and like when and listening to you tell that story, it's just like it's so normal for you, but it's like name drop after name drop after name drop after name drop. And it's like, dude, he was number 3. Like
Yeah.
what's it like to prove, do you realize in that moment because when you got to Alabama, it wasn't Saban's Alabama.
Yeah.
That is like the legend that it is now. So like what's it like to have to prove yourself in that kind of environment? Did you realize the pedigree that you were playing with?
Yeah, dude. You just look at like the stature of the guys that Shula recruited and the dudes that Saban recruited. Dude, the motherfucker Saban, I don't even know where he finds these dudes. Like, it's insane. Like the size of these kids at 18. I'm like, yo, how are you 6'4", 260 already, dog? What? You weren't birthed, dude. You came up in assembly line. But a jiu-jitsu coach by the name of Chris Howder, he said something. He's got a quote that I thought was just like, it's money, and it's 100% true. And I didn't even realize it, but this is kind of my life. You know what I'm saying? It's not about who's best, it's who's left. You know what I'm saying? I was, all these places, I'm the only one left. You know what I mean? All these situations. So, the word quit doesn't, I've never quit anything a day in my life. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And I was like, for real, like, I don't know who told me or whatever, who embedded it in my head, like, the hardest worker always plays. It's bullshit, unless you play for, you know what I'm saying? If someone's, like, so much more talented than you, it's not going to matter how hard you work, for the most part. I know people don't want to believe that, but, especially when it comes to Division I sports, man, that coach's job is on the line. He's not caring how hard you work. He cares how productive you are. You know what I mean? And so when Saban got there, he's got like a list. If you play defensive end for us, we want you to be this height, this weight. Everybody that I played with that played my position was like 6'5", 260. You know what I'm saying? Courtney Upshaw was 6'3", 280 with like 10% body fat. Like, yo, these people, they're not normal, dude. They're not. I've never even seen a person that size until Saban got there. I'm like, yeah. And yeah, but that is one thing. You're not gonna outwork me, dude. In the gym, on the field, in the weight room, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna outwork me, and that's something that I hang my hat on, like a blue collar mentality.
100%. Well, dude, you're just watching your evolution through it all has been amazing to watch, from the outside looking in. I mean, it's one thing to be related to you. It's a whole nother deal to just and being a coach. You're the kind of athlete that every coach wants. Like, I only have to tell you to do shit. Like, I don't have to worry about you showing up on time. I don't have to worry about you eating the right stuff. I don't have to worry about you making weight. You know what I mean? And, knowing that your willingness to take, kind of leads me to my next question. Like, is your willingness to just take whoever wants to fight you, is that just based on the history of success that you've had taking your shot? Like, you went 5 rounds against Allen in the LFA for that middleweight championship. And from what I watched and in talking to you afterwards, like, that was a hard fucking fight. And then that was a Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, they're like, hey, dude, here's your shot in the UFC. Do you want it or not? And you're like, you don't even think about the shit. You're just like, okay. And some would say it's well, they must have dangled a fat paycheck in front of him. Like, no, you don't understand. Eryk would have done that shit for free. He likes this shit. He's different that way. So, like, it again, coming back to that question, is your willingness to operate that way just based on, like, you've had success doing it.
I think sometimes the opportunity comes and you can't say no. I already knew, like, if you got that middleweight belt for LFA, man, it's not going to be long before the UFC calls. And the reason why that fight was so tiring is because, man, in the first like minute and a half, I dropped him. I even told him on a phone interview, man, I hate reporters that like try to like start shit for the fighters. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So this dude was just like kind of instigating. Like, we were both on this thing, and he was just kind of instigating. And I was just like, yo, you don't fight, so why are you even fucking talking? You know what I mean? But then Brandon Allen said some shit, and I was just like, hell no. I was like, dog, I'm knocking you out in 3 minutes. Period. And in the first minute and a half, boom, I dropped him. But he didn't die. And for 3 rounds, I laid it on him pretty good, picking him up, slamming him, dropped him a few times, just let him have it. But again, he didn't die. So I emptied the tank in the first 15. We still got 10 to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, the fourth round, I think he almost submitted me, and, he was picking up speed. I think I was like 30, and he may have been like 21. You know what I mean? So, youth was on his side. That young chin was on his side. His durability was on his side. So he's definitely a much better fighter now than he was then. And then I actually said no to the UFC the first time. They called me like maybe, I don't know, like 3 weeks after that fight, and like, yo, come fight this guy. And I was like, I can't, dude. My hand is swollen. This shit's probably broke, or at least has a stress fracture. So I was like, man, what do you want me to do? This is my left hand. This is like my only chance of winning at the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then they called back like 3 days later with an even better. Like, they wanted me to fight a newcomer, another dude who fought for LFA, and I was like, I'll see him later. Mm. And then they called me this a few days later and was like, whatever. And I was like, because they're not calling a third time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
so, I went out there.
Well, you said something that triggered something in my mind, because we were talking about it the other day, sitting in the sauna at Next Level. You said when you took that fight with Thiago, it was like, you proved something to yourself that it was 6 days notice, was it a catch weight fight?
Nah, we fought at 205.
Okay. At any given time, you got 15 minutes in you, and that fight holds a special place in my memory about you, because there was no doubt, one, that you went into the reserves, you emptied the tank completely, and I don't know if it was the first time, but you for sure in that fight found that dark place, right? That place that you can't get to in training, that you can't will yourself into. Like, it is a place in this existence where you leave your body, and it is the only way to access it is through dire circumstance. Like, you can't talk yourself into it. You can't create it. There's no intentional haze. There's no boot camp. There's no place that you can intentionally put yourself to take you there. Like, that. Yeah. Something has to be impressed upon you, and you have to. There's nowhere else for you to go but through it. Had you been to a place like that before that moment with Thiago?
Hell nah. And you lie to yourself, and you tell yourself, with your teammates and all, it's like, oh, dude, we're fucking running these 110s. It's 100 degrees out here. It's hot, man. That ain't shit. Go get in the cage and go, fight and wrestle, and you know what I'm saying. That's where you really find out who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like that day, Eryk Anders was introduced to Eryk Anders. You know what I'm saying? Like I know my limit now. You know. A lot of people like they have this facade, even fighters too. They have this facade like whatever, they're invincible or whatever. But and a lot of people say that they want to go there. I was like, no, you don't, dude. No, you don't. Now it's not dark, dude. That motherfucker is pitch black. That shit is that shit is sensory deprivation. That is, you know what I mean? And I mean, but don't get it twisted. I'm happy that I found like that I could at least gone there at least once in my life. You know what I mean? Am I willing to go there again? Yeah, absolutely. And now I know that when I'm tired, this, is this that? Nah, it ain't. So fuck all that and keep it moving. You know what I mean? And then I also know, like, it also, like, when I fight, I can go balls to the wall. And I wasn't even training, I was out there drinking pizza, drinking beer, pizza, having a good time, whatever. If I'm doing all that, I've been training for 8 weeks. Man, you think this dude could push me to that level? I doubt it. So there's always confidence there going into a fight. Yeah, he may be a better fighter, but I'm gonna be there at the end. I think this is like my 24th professional fight. Man, I've only been finished once, and that was the third. Another show. I know that if I'm prepared, he's gonna have to be prepared to go 15. I know I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What does that do for you out here in the world? How does that shift your worldview when Eryk Anders, in the aftermath of Eryk Anders being introduced to Eryk Anders, as you say?
I don't know, because I don't really like dealing with people. You know what I mean? People are cool. I like to have fun and talk to people, but I already know that like 99% of the human population ain't even trying to go there. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to relate when people talk about I'm tired, I'm this, I'm just like, and I don't be trying to one up people. I understand like everybody's level is different. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to compare myself to a soccer mom, but how tired are you really? Are you like so tired that you can't get up on national TV with somebody else like trying to beat you up? You know what I mean? Are you that tired? Or are you just tired because you threw too many punches? How tired are you? Exhausted? Are you being a pussy? Are you lying to yourself? Because there's always so much more left until you get to that point. And if you're on your feet, if you're standing up, you're not nowhere near that point. And you know what? Like my high school coach, he told me this story one time that once you're exhausted and you can't feel like you can't go any further, you can't take another step, you've only used 1/3 of your potential energy. So from that day up until ever, even now, I'm just like, dude, I'm not tired, dude. I keep it moving. But what he didn't tell me is that other 2/3 of energy is used to like keep your heart pumping.
I'm about to say, keep your ass alive.
Keep your metabolism. Yeah, all that involuntary shit that you do. I'm like, fuck, dude. I just try to like kind of forget that part and just keep going. It's like, oh, dude, you're tired. You only use 1/3 of your energy, dude. Keep it moving. You know what I mean? But also, like at the same time, like I was tired, but dude was beating on me too. So it's not just like I was running and got tired and that happened. Nah, dude, I was in like a fight, a fist fight.
Yeah.
And so,
what is that? How does that perspective influence you as a father raising a man?
Man, my kids are young, dude. Like I don't really expect them to have gotten to that place. They're 13 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
you know. But my oldest, he wrestles, so they both wrestle, but they're you have to like for them like they're frustrated because they're embarrassed they lost. Hazard fighters when they lose, it's not
Mm-hmm.
they're mad that they lost or got knocked out or choked out. It's embarrassing, dude. Like millions of people just watch that happen. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So it's yeah, okay. No one wants to lose, but no one wants. Damn sure doesn't want to get knocked out on national television. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's embarrassing. So it kind of teaches them to like deal with that. Work through it. Cause hey, dude, like get over that. Cause you going again. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That shit's over. You lost or you won, whatever. Keep it moving. And uh, what? But the one thing about being a dad and being a father, I don't want to be macho all the time. Like it's not. That's not. I don't think that's like being a father. To like. Yes, of course. Like you're supposed to like push your kids and like encourage them and make them do the things that they don't want to do in order to be successful and stuff. But you have to have a soft side too, and that's something that I had to learn because yeah, you just can't be on their ass all the time. Like I want them to do what they want to do, not because I did it. Like you wear your own shoes too. And I just I just remember my oldest Israel, he uh fractured his hip and missed the football season. And I could tell that he didn't want to cry in front of me. He didn't want to like, express himself, but I could hear in his voice. You know how like kids before they start crying, or even adults, they start to, and it's just him and I in the car, and I was like, hey, dude, let it out. Scream, shout. It's just us in here. You say whatever's on your chest. Let the tears fall, man. Let that shit go. You know what I'm saying? Get it off your chest. You'll feel so much better. He did. He squalled. He, motherfucked football. Like I hate football. I get hurt. You know what I'm saying? But then afterwards, man, it was just like a cloudy day, and then the part. You know what I'm saying? The sun, all the tears, all the. Yeah, I put the car in park, dude. I was like, man, let it go, dude. Fucking, I'm listening. It's just us. You don't have to be, macho
Yeah.
man in front of me. You know what I'm saying? That was a fear of mine, like that I fight. Like I don't want my kids to be like, I can't talk to my dad about emotional shit because, he's Mr. Tough Guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want
Mm-hmm.
that to be what my kids see when they look at me. I want them to see dad, a father. You know what I mean? Dude, he was just, afterwards, he just took a deep breath and, everything was all good. He just kind of
Yeah.
accepted, like, this is the situation. I'm on these crutches. I'm going to miss the season, but
Mm-hmm.
I got wrestling season. And he
Yeah.
came back and got fourth in the district or metro, whatever you call it, this past season. So I was just like, man, see, there you go, man. You gotta put that shit behind you. However you put it behind you, whether it's tears,
Mm-hmm.
even I weep. Like I don't like boo hoo, but like man, yeah, dude, I weep. Like I tear and do the
Mm-hmm.
thing, after a loss. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like an emotional thing. It's not just physical.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your eye may be black, your leg may be sore or whatever, like your lip is fat and bleeding, your nose is bleeding and shit. That's part
Mm-hmm.
of it. That's like, that shit happened in practice, you know what I mean? But
Right.
to do all that work, go out there, train, and then lose, dude, it's
Yeah.
like, fighting is an emotional thing, dude. It's like an emotional release as well. Like, well, look at every dude who wins a fight. Look at
Mm-hmm.
every single guy and girl who knocks somebody out. They all have the same scream. So this primal, dude. You see all like the neck veins and all
Mm-hmm.
that. Like every muscle they have is flexed. They scream. They yell. Whatever. It's just uh, an emotional thing that
Yeah.
that fighting brings out.
Describe it to me, man. Like
I can't.
what?
If you've
What?
never done it,
Yeah.
I can't, dude. I've done. I don't know who your audience is, but man, I've done a lot of drugs, man. I put a lot of chemicals, synthetic chemicals, off cliffs, race cars, rode motorcycles. I've done a lot of, crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's absolutely zero things that I have done that could simulate winning on a big stage like that. Even
Mm-hmm.
winning a national championship, it ain't got shit on going out there and knocking out Hop on its all on 10 days notice in 2.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing, dude. There's absolutely nothing that can simulate that. And that's just what you love to do. I don't know. So, I truly wish that everybody on earth could experience that emotion, however you get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever your
Mm-hmm.
emotion is. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Winning and losing. Everybody needs to understand what it is to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Then also, what it is to be on top. There'd be a
Mm-hmm.
lot less assholes in the world if you knew, especially dudes, especially young males, if they knew that they could get choked out by a 125-pound girl.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be an asshole. They wouldn't, try to fight everybody. They wouldn't pick fights. They wouldn't talk shit on the internet because they know, shit,
Mm-hmm.
that could be me. That dude who just got that on the TV that I was watching, that fight that I was just watching, that could be me. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It has been me. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it has been me, but the regular Joe Schmo who watches the shit on TV or
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to be exposed to yourself. And yo,
Yeah.
I'm not as tough as I thought I was. You know what I mean? You need to be
Well,
smothered a little bit.
but I think at the same time, one of the things that you're bringing up is like, kind of circling back to the whole luck thing. You know what I mean? Like it could be you. You could
Yeah,
be you could be the victor and you could be the victim. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like that sometimes that's the luck of the fucking draw. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. I was listening to another podcast, Rogan was interviewing a fighter or whatever, and she was like, 9 times out of 10, you could probably end that cat, but that one time, like that, it just so happened to be the one.
Yeah, that's what they say. You know what I'm saying? He was better on this night, or I
Mm-hmm.
was the better man this night. So not everybody. I think there's not too many people that are undefeated in this, especially in this sport.
Yeah. Well, I
You
think
know?
that that's also a metaphor for life. Like I don't know anybody in my business life and my athletic career. I don't know anybody who's undefeated. And nobody has beat Father Time. You
Oh
know,
yeah, hell no.
like
That Father Time and the internet are undefeated. You ain't getting away from either one. You can put it off, you can delay it, you can do whatever you want, but eventually the time,
hmm
always that time is ticking.
yeah, man. God, I wanted to go somewhere else with you. Talking about like your experience with you know psychedelics and the euphoria, the peak emotion that you experience when you lay a motherfucker out. you know um is there any correlation between those two experiences, in that, like we were talking about the other night, it was my experience when I became exposed to psilocybin and DMT and those peak chemical experiences. Like I do now I understand in a way that I feel like you will only understand if you've been experienced in the
Mm.
Jimi Hendrix sense of the word. Like you could use this as a tool to discover and deal, or you can use it as a means to escape and not deal with your shit. You know, has you know, I'm gonna ask you to repeat some of the things that we talked about in that conversation in terms of like what's been your experience, and is there a correlation between the way you look at, the euphoria of dropping somebody in the cage and experiences with psychedelics?
I've never done every time I've done mushrooms, it's kind of like not necessarily. I've never set an intention. Every time I do mushrooms, it's kind of to have a good time or go walk around in the woods or in the mountains or whatever, and just kind of, I wouldn't say release emotional baggage, but dude, you know come down off that stuff and then you go to sleep and wake up, dude, it's like a reset button.
Mm-hmm.
But DMT, man, that was so much different than anything I had ever done. It just kind of, that's a for real reset. That's like, after I did DMT, I realized that, like, if you look at my fights before Thiago Santos, they're wild, crazy, chaotic. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting hit, they're getting hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, wildly entertaining fights. After Thiago Santos, I had like this thing in my head subconsciously I didn't even realize, because I was probably lying to myself. Like, I never ever wanted to experience that level of fatigue and tiredness. You're helpless, dude. It is not a good feeling at all. To literally be so tired and so beat up that you can't even make it from one side of a 30-foot cage to the other side. And I'm on my hands and knees crawling and passing out. My coach is fucking dragging me by my hands. Like, yo, it's fucking. Then the ref waves it off, and it's like, fuck, dude, it's fucking. So, like, and then like, after Thiago Santos, it's like very hesitant, very, I wouldn't say unwilling to engage, but like not willing to like sell out and put it all out there and get tired. And I never even thought about it till I did DMT, Sapo, Bufo to be specific. And then like I literally thought that, death was there. I thought that I fucked up. I was like, yo, I just orphaned my kids, you know what I'm saying? I fucked up during this experience. And man, really what I got out of it is, yeah, you could do it. That was like a one-off. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be scared or afraid to get back to that place. It's in you. You got it. You know what I mean? So, and then ever since after that, I'm trying to remember like my first fight after I did it. Oh, the first time I fought Darren Stewart, it was like that. He cracked me a good time, and then it only lasted a round, and I just went in. I was beating him up, taking him down. Got a little carried away, kneed him in the head, and got disqualified. We fought again a few months later, beat him. But like, getting tired doesn't even register in my head anymore. It's like, yo, you're gonna go as hard as you need to go, and to get these cats out of there. You know what I mean? And if it takes 15 minutes, it takes 15 minutes. But like I was telling you earlier, I know I got 15 minutes at all times. And I've been training, so I can go harder in that 15 minutes. I don't ever need to be hesitant or scared to get tired. Like, I remember not like thinking, but like, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like a thought in my head, but like, I would go and be like, you're doing too much. Fucking relax. Fucking catch your breath. Whatever. That, man, it ain't even like that no more. It's just like, go until it's over. So it's a newfound confidence knowing that no matter what, dude, you can push the pace, you can go, you got it. You just go do it. You know what I mean? So I think that was like a much different and unique experience than the other psychedelics. I've done a few of those too: acid, uh, mushrooms, ayahuasca, and DMT, 5-MeO DMT. Yeah, I really like the hallucinogens because it's not like an out of body experience. It's just like a perspective. Like, you can just grasp a new perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With mushrooms, it's like a reset. I feel brand new the day after.
Yep.
Uh, DMT I've done a few times. No experience that I've had with DMT was like that first time I did the toad. But every time you do it, you get something out of it. That's what I like about DMT. Mushrooms, you could just you know fuck off and you just did mushrooms. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not necessarily getting anything out of it.
Right.
But and then sometimes the message is hidden too. You know what I mean? It's like you have to go figure it out for yourself. It's not just unveiled to you. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that's always been interesting to me, in my experience with psychedelics is the integration process is almost everlasting. In my experience, like it's not just like, oh, you can be, you know, thinking about the remnants for a couple of weeks. Like, no, like there are things that come to me like years later. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's where that piece is. That's that's been kind of like hanging out over here. And now I can, that's where it's supposed to go, you know? And but it kind of like, I don't know, it's been my experience where it just kind of like tees it up so that rather than, you know, other periods of your life where you would have otherwise missed it, it's like, oh, I know exactly where that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend the toad to a lot of people, but you have to be ready for it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's experience is different, of course, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, when you introduced me to it, you know, we compared notes afterwards, and you know, one of the things that my facilitator walked me through immediately, because he knew how I came into the experience. He was like, whatever the fuck he told you about his experience, like you can't bring that with you into your experience, because whatever you're here to sort out has nothing to do with what Eryk just went through.
Sure.
Right. And you know, that was a very sobering conversation, you know, because like we have all these inputs, and all that input creates filters, right? And we walk into, you know, these experiences with those filters, and when, you know, God forbid, the experience that you have doesn't match that perception, right? Now you have to waste precious time and energy, you know, peeling back those layers to identify what it actually means for you.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Like it would, like the first time I did, I didn't even know what it was for real. They just called me and was like, "Yo, you want to fucking smoke this DMT from this toad?" I was like, "I'm on the way." But then it was like a whole ceremony. Like I did hape. You know, it was a ceremony. I set an intention.
Oh, you did the whole thing.
I did the whole thing. I just
You
didn't
did the
show
work.
up and like, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I sat there and thought about it, and you know, yeah, and I don't even remember what my intention was, but it definitely wasn't to be a better fighter and not be scared of getting tired. You know what I mean?
But that's what you got.
That's what came out of it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know, I wasn't even there. I mean, I was there. My body was there, but my mind, my soul, whatever, was elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I was just doing like forward rolls and doing all this crazy shit in this, you know, Cejudo's backyard. You know, I just, yeah, it's an amazing experience once you get through it. It's scary as fuck. Probably the scariest thing I ever did.
But it totally parallels the way you describe the experience with Tiago, or just fighting in general. Once they lock the cage, man, the only way to it is through it, man. You know, the only difference is, you know, you got the clock that can save your ass in a fight. You know, like you can't get off the ride till the ride's over.
Yeah, I bought brand on DMT. Damn, they over here shooting on DMT. Once you buy that ticket, dude, you gotta ride that ride. I know when that bitch be like click, 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 click. You be like, oh, I wanna be out here. Whoosh, like it's over with, dude. You on the ride, baby?
Yeah,
buckle up.
Yeah. You know, people ask me a lot about you, you know, and I tell them, man, I was like, Eryk's intergalactic, man. The motherfucker's interplanetary. You know, you have such a unique and still grounded perspective on this thing called life, man. You know, it's until you've sat with you, and you know, I've had the benefit of knowing you for, fuck man, 36 years. It's like this isn't something that you've this way of being isn't something that you've just evolved into. Like, you've always been this way, you know. And it's cool that regardless of, you know, the cards that life has dealt you in different seasons of your life, like, that perspective has never changed, you know. And you've had the highest of highs and some pretty fucking significant lows, man. And watching you kind of, I don't know, man, you move through it like so fucking cool, you know. And to to watch it and you know, get a glimpse of what's going on behind the scenes, because I'm your brother, you know. It's like you're you're the one that nobody worries about, you know what I'm saying? Because
I'm
like,
just happy go lucky, dude. It's like whatever it is, like I'm alive.
mm-hmm,
So how bad does it really hurt? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
How much does it really suck? It's like, fuck, all right. You know, he's kind of like,
mm-hmm,
it's just staying for a little bit, regardless, like whatever. Not even just talking about fighting, but when you fuck
mm-hmm,
something up or you fail in life or whatever, it stings. But how much time are you going to waste on that sting?
yeah,
Man, shit, go ahead, just dump that alcohol on there, fucking rub that shit, it's gonna sting, put the band-aid
mm-hmm,
on, 2 weeks you straight.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I think a lot of people like waste a lot of time, effort, and energy on why is this happening to me? Fuck why. It is. You know what I'm saying? So how do I move past this? How do I get past this? What is the remedy?
mm-hmm. Is it fighting? Is it the way we were raised? Is it athletics? Was it a coach that kind of crystallized that warrior in the garden way of being in you? Like, is that was there a moment or a season of your life where you, like, you know, like you embrace that for what it is in yourself?
I think like growing up, you try to do and say things that you think will be popular, that people will like, or you think will make people like you. But I can't tell you like exactly when or why. But at a certain point, when I was pretty young, I was just like, man, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do what
Mm-hmm.
I want to do, and I'm not like a mean person. When I say do me, like I'm not gonna like hurt somebody or steal from somebody or do whatever. I'm just, you know, I'm gonna do me, and if you like me, you like me. Like there's no like social pressure for me to want to be liked. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just the way I am. I'm like super laid back, chill, and you know, take it as it comes after me. And if I want it, I'm gonna go get it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
And I
want
think that's the difference. People make excuses for reasons not to start or not to finish, and that's why they suck. You know,
mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
why you are where you're at, and you're
Yeah.
not happy with your life because you quit. You know what I'm saying? You gave up. You know what I'm saying? You said it's in God's hands, man. It's in your hands. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, I listen to people, and I'm just like, I don't want to be like that. Don't want to be like
Mm-hmm.
that. He's cool. I'll hang out with him. You know what I'm saying? He's motivated, but I'm not hanging out with her or him because all this motherfucker talk about is how bad their life sucks. My life is gonna suck if I hang out with you. So I just like also, you know, I try to hang out with people who are on different pages than me. Like I got friends who own gas stations. You know, I got friends who, you know, I got friends like from every socioeconomic background. But the one thing that is common with my friends is they're positive.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want, positivity. Shit happens to everybody. Yo, I'm not gonna talk to you for an hour about how bad your life sucks. I'm not doing that. Yeah, because that's just gonna weigh on me. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Okay, yeah, okay. You can tell me what the issue is, but now let's stop. You know, bitching about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It's find like a remedy. It's find a situation. It's find a way to,
Yeah.
you know, move past it.